You didn't fail because you lacked ambition. You failed because you were waiting to feel ready. Think about the last time you decided to change something. Maybe you wanted to wake up earlier. Maybe you wanted to stop eating garbage at midnight. Maybe you wanted to finally stop wasting hours on your phone before bed. You felt it, that sharp, clear, almost electric sense of this is it, this time I mean it. And for maybe 2 or 3 days you actually did it. You woke up early, you made the bed. You felt something close to pride. And then life got slightly harder, or slightly boring, or just slightly normal, and the whole thing collapsed. What if the problem was never motivation? What if it was never discipline, or willpower, or the fact that you just haven't found the right system yet? What if the real problem is that you've been chasing the wrong feeling entirely? Because here's something nobody says out loud, and this might be the most uncomfortable thing you hear today. The people who actually have their lives together are not more inspired than you. They are not more driven. They are not running on some special kind of inner fire that you were somehow born without. They're just doing things that are quietly, almost embarrassingly boring every single day, without waiting to feel anything about it. Not hacks, not biohacks, not morning routines that require you to wake up at 5 in the morning and meditate for an hour and cold plunge and journal before the sun rises. Something slower, something less exciting, and something that actually works. The quiet architecture of a stable life. Stay with me. Because there's a specific reason why your good intentions keep breaking down, and it has nothing to do with who you are as a person. There's a point where the pattern always breaks, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Imagine 2 people. One wakes up every Monday feeling fired up. They have a list, a plan, maybe a vision board. They're going to meal prep this week, hit the gym every day, read for 30 minutes every night. They go hard for about 4 days, and then something happens. A stressful day, a late night, a bad mood, and the whole structure crumbles. By Sunday, they feel guilty. They promise themselves they'll restart on Monday. The second person doesn't feel particularly inspired on Monday. They're not chasing transformation. They just have a few very small, very boring things they do every single day without negotiating with themselves about it. They drink water when they wake up. They go to bed at roughly the same time. They move their body, even if it's just a walk. They know where their money is going. They eat something real at least twice a day. From the outside, the first person looks more motivated, more alive even. But who do you think is actually winning at their own life? I was the first person for years, and I kept thinking the problem was that I hadn't found enough motivation yet, that I needed a bigger why. What took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out is this: motivation is a visitor. It shows up sometimes. It leaves whenever it wants. You cannot build a life on a visitor. You have to build it on a resident. The residents in a well-functioning life are simple, predictable, slightly boring daily actions. Every decision you make throughout the day costs your brain something. It costs energy. It costs focus. Every morning when you stare at your kitchen, trying to figure out what to eat, that costs you something. Every evening when you scroll, trying to decide whether to sleep or keep watching, that costs you something. Every time you negotiate with yourself about whether to do the thing you said you were going to do, that costs you something. Now imagine if you didn't have to make those decisions at all. Not because someone made them for you, but because you made them once, and they just run on autopilot now. That is what a real routine does. Not a complicated morning ritual with 17 steps. Not a color-coded planner. A small set of automatic actions that your brain no longer has to spend energy deciding about. Protecting your energy by making fewer decisions, not better decisions. You don't need to be more inspired. You need to be more automatic. Think about something you never have to motivate yourself to do. Brushing your teeth. Putting on shoes when you leave the house. Locking your door. You don't feel inspired to do these things. You just do them. It's not even a question. Imagine if your sleep schedule worked like that. Imagine if your meals worked like that. Imagine if checking your finances worked like that. Not something you dreaded and postponed and felt guilty about. Just something that happened, quietly, reliably, without drama. That's what we're building here, and it starts with something so small that your brain will probably resist it. If this is landing for you, subscribe. I put out content exactly like this regularly, and it's the kind of thing worth having in your feed when you need it most. The mistake most people make when they try to build habits is they try to change everything at once. New sleep schedule, new diet, new workout routine, new relationship with their phone, all starting Monday. The brain does not accept wholesale change well. It resists, it reverts, it retreats back to the familiar. The answer is not to try harder. The answer is to shrink the ask until the brain says yes. Start with one anchor, just one. Pick the part of your day that is most predictably within your control. For most people, that's either the first 10 minutes after waking up or the last 20 minutes before bed, and build one small non-negotiable ritual around it. Not something impressive, something functional. A glass of water, a made bed, turning your phone off before sleep, reading a single page of a real book. One thing, done daily, without exception. Because here's what happens when you keep one small promise to yourself every day. Your brain begins to file you under a different category. Instead of person who has good intentions, it starts building the identity of person who does what they said. And identity is the engine behind every habit that actually sticks. You're not trying to be more disciplined through force. You're trying to rewrite the story your nervous system tells itself about who you are. Now, the cost of chaos. Not the dramatic cost. The quiet, invisible, daily cost of living without any structure at all. When you go to bed at a different time every night, your body never fully recovers. Not because of the hours, but because of the inconsistency. Your hunger signals, your focus, your mood, all of it runs on rhythm. Interrupt the rhythm, and everything gets slightly worse. Not broken. Just slightly worse, every day, adding up like a slow leak. When you eat without structure, you make the worst decisions exactly when you're hungriest and most depleted. When you track nothing about your finances, you spend in ways you can't reconstruct later and wonder where the month went. When you never move your body, even gently, you carry a low-level physical heaviness that bleeds into your mood, your sleep, your patience. None of these things feel catastrophic on their own. Each one feels like a small personal failure you quietly carry. But together, they create a background noise in your life that you've probably gotten so used to, you don't even hear it anymore. You just feel vaguely tired, vaguely behind, vaguely like you're not quite living up to what you know you're capable of. That's the loop I opened at the beginning. And here's how it closes. You didn't fail at motivation. You were just trying to run a complex machine without the basic maintenance it needed. The machine isn't broken, it was running on empty. And nobody told you that refueling it looks boring from the outside. The people around you who seem to have it together have simply automated enough of their daily life that they don't have to fight themselves constantly. They go to bed at a predictable time, not because they love it, but because they learned that the alternative costs them everything the next day. They prepare food in advance not because they enjoy the process, but because they know that hungry, tired them makes terrible decisions. They move their body on the unmotivated days, not because they feel inspired, but because they stopped waiting for inspiration to decide. Real progress doesn't feel like a breakthrough. It feels like the morning when you do the boring thing again and notice that it took slightly less effort than last week. That quiet shift, that is the moment, not fireworks, a slight reduction in friction. So today, not Monday, not next month, today, pick one small boring thing you can do before you sleep tonight. One anchor, one promise to yourself that requires almost no effort to keep. Keep it tomorrow too. And the day after, not because it will change your life today, but because 90 days of small, boring, kept promises is what a genuinely different life is actually made of. Tell me in the comments, what's the one boring habit that has quietly made the biggest difference in your day? Not the impressive one, the one nobody talks about. I'm genuinely curious. The quiet life is not the small life. It's the one where you finally stop fighting yourself every single day. That's not boring. That's freedom.